verse 23. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And we're going to wrap it up tonight as we finish up with temperance. The statement, against such there is no law. Now we went through it. We've covered that this is fruit singular. But we're talking about temperance tonight, the manifestation of the fruit of the Spirit. Temperance. Anybody know what temperance is? Self-control.
That's why I didn't know that.
Self-control. You wonder why we have problems with diabetes. We don't have self-control. Weight loss, self-control. Things we say, self-control. Things we go out and do, self-control. If we could control ourselves, boy, just think how much trouble we would stay out of. Think how many times we wouldn't have to say we're sorry. You know, I heard one person say about sticking your foot in your mouth. You know, you got some people that stick their foot in their mouth so much it starts to wrinkle up because it stays in there. Self-control. Just think of what we could do if we had self-control. But the good thing is, self-control, it comes from God. It grows within us. It is fruit of the Spirit. It is something that we are supposed to have, but oftentimes we are sorely lacking. Would you believe self-control goes with patience, or walks alongside of it?
Yes.
Why can I be patient? Why does it appear that I'm patient and that I'm not about to kill you? Because I have self-control.
There you go.
We get mad at people and we don't lash out because of self-control. Temperance. You know, a lot of people think of temperance as moderation, but actually, and that is the modern definition of it, is moderation. If you go back and you look when they had prohibition, temperance actually meant restraint from. You didn't mess with it at all. So a little change in the meaning of the word, but in our circumstance here, temperance means you restrain yourself. You do not give in to your base desires, those things that would be contrary to the Spirit of God. Those actions. I mean, this goes all the way back over into the book of Proverbs, where it lets us know that he that is not hasty of spirit is better than him that wins a city. And him that is quick in their spirit, or is easily aggravated, or gives into angry or a wrathful spirit in that manner, does not have control of their self. Their spirit is like a city with a broken down wall. Now I want you to think on that analogy for a minute. A city with a broken down wall. What's a wall for? Protection. Defense. So if it's a city and you represent the city, and your temperance, your self-control is the wall that guards the city, how many times do you let things slip through? Because you don't have self-control. How many times do things get through? How many times do you look back and you say, I wish I wouldn't have done that?
Oh, yeah.
You look at something, I think about Bugs Bunny. Yeah, a lot of y'all, some of y'all older now, y'all remember Bugs Bunny. Little statement, he says, if I do it, I get a whipping. I do it. That's just how we handle things. We know we shouldn't do certain things. We walk right along straight into it. It felt good. I was mad. It just had me flustered. Y'all ever said that stuff?
Yes. Yep.
I got beside myself. You better get hold of yourself.
That's right.
What you need to do. But this is spiritual fruit. So how do you, when you're dealing with spiritual fruit, a tree as it grows, or any plant as it grows, as it matures, it should produce, if it's tended well, it should produce more fruit, right?
Right.
And it should produce better fruit. So a mark of maturity would be fruit. That reasonable. So what does it say about us when we are not manifesting that type of fruit? What type of person does that make us spiritually? I'm going to let y'all say it. Y'all won't say it. What does it make us?
Weak.
Weak, immature. It makes us, but see now the good thing about that, when we confess it, it makes us immature. That means that there's room for us to grow.
That's right.
We've not arrived. You see, the first thing about dealing with a problem, you've got to first acknowledge that you've got a problem.
That's right.
If I ignore a problem, it doesn't go away. If I ignore it, it's just going to eventually get worse if I don't do something about it. So if I realize that I need self-control, God, self-control stems from you. It stems from my relationship with you. So if I need self-control or more of this manifestation of fruit, I've got to get into God's presence more, and I've got to develop my relationship with Him. And when I do that, God's going to make sure I never get into situations where I have to deal with this, right?
I
No.
wish.
He's going to put you into situations where you get to practice self-control.
That's right.
Kind of like, I know y'all have heard it before, praying for patience.
Yeah.
Lord, make me patient, and He puts you into the midst of some of the worst things that there are, so He can make you patient.
So good.
I heard people tell me, said, don't you ever pray for patience.
Heard that.
Be careful what you ask for.
Heard that.
But
You better be ready for it.
you do. You need to understand what you're asking for. But here's the thing, if we receive what we ask for, though God puts us through a hard test, then on the other side, aren't we better than what we were when we started? So why should I shun going through difficult times to become what God wants me to be if what I'm supposed to be is better than what I am now?
That's right.
We want reward without work. We want it the easy way.
Yes.
You know, we got the Burger King microwave generation, and we want to hit the button, bam, we want it right now, our way, right away. Is that not a fair assessment of it?
Yeah.
This has crept into the church. The mentality. I want service right now. I want gratification right now. We use that term instant gratification. But you deny yourself, and Jesus even says that. He said, deny yourself, have self-control. Take up your cross and follow me. Put aside your desires for what you see as a better way, my way. So when we do that, we grow, we walk, our relationship develops. It's just like digging a well. You get a shallow well, you get dirty water.
That's right.
We're looking for a deep well. We're looking for a deeper source. We look for people. We don't want to be shallow individuals. But we have to press, we have to fight, we have to strive, we have to work, we have to build our relationship with God. Is there work involved? Absolutely. Any of y'all married in here?
Yeah.
And your relationship with your spouse, it just flows along perfect. Y'all never have to, y'all gonna have to get the altar tonight. Some of you I can tell. But our relationship, we work at it.
That's right.
It's the same way with God.
That's right.
Not because God is hard to get along with, but because we're difficult individuals.
That's right.
There are things that we have to let go of and move forward. Not because it's what God wants necessarily, although it is what He wants, but it's because God sees this is how you can be the best you. So He allows us to go through things. And it generates within us as we continue on the fruit of the Spirit. Now, trees. Any of y'all ever mess with planting any trees, anything like that? Fruit trees?
A few times, yeah.
When a storm comes along and it shakes a tree, the response of the tree is to put down deeper roots. So every time something comes in your life and you get shaken, you see that's the fruit of the Spirit. We put down deeper roots. You put down deeper roots, you can grow higher up.
Come on.
You can bear more fruit. It manifests itself. We've got to be tried. We've got to go through things in order to bear fruit, to bear good fruit, continuous fruit. Fruit in every season.
Right.
Not just when we feel like it. Not just when we're having a good day. I remember a sister taught a Sunday school lesson. She said, every day can't be a free cookie day.
Yeah.
Said someday, and this has stuck with me for probably over 20 years, we still talk about it. But the sister brought it out, that every day can't be a 3-cookie day. We all want to be able to have a cookie at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We want something sweet to go with it, but sometimes you need broccoli. Sometimes you need things that you might not like in order to grow up big and strong. And that's what we tell children all the time. So we can't bypass that spiritually as adults. We deal with the same thing. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit. Like I said, temperance is simply self-control. Already brought that out. I think everybody's got a pretty good grasp on that, because a lot of times we miss it. And we know when we miss it. Myself included. Miss it with things we say. Our actions, hasty, quick in spirit to anger. That I've got a bad temper. You know, nobody says that, do you?
I do, I tell you.
I got an honest one in the
I
book.
mean, not a bad one, but it's bad.
You have to rein it in. That's self-control.
We all have to.
We all have things that we have to rein in.
Sure do.
Sarcasm.
Yeah.
I look,
People flatter that.
I look at somebody in here over that.
Road rage.
Road rage.
Yeah.
Self-control. All things we rein in, we have to take control of our emotions and of our feelings. And we have to let our rationale, what we know to be right, we have to let it take control of what we want to do. So we understand what temperance is. But it says, and he says, fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. But he makes the statement, against such there is no law. Now, laws are for people who do things that are wrong. I mean, the Bible makes that clear. A good moral person, you've got people who follow God. They know they're not going to lie, they're not going to cheat, they're not going to steal, they're going to do the right thing, they're going to treat others the way they want to be treated, so they're going to be fair about what they're doing.
Right.
They don't need law. But law is for people who are backbiters and murderers and thieves, and that's why we have to have law. But he makes the statement against these things. This fruit, this manifestation. He says there is no law. There's nothing that is contrary, nothing that says you shouldn't have it. You should definitely have it. It should abound within you. He makes it clear that there is no hold, no restriction against it. So we should indulge in it.
That's right.
Partake of it. Have our fill of it. Against such things, there's no law. This is the kind of person God wants us to be. We have spent weeks going over spiritual fruit. For what purpose? Not just to get a better understanding, but to help us see. The Bible makes it clear that the Word of God is a mirror. And we see ourselves in this mirror. And a mirror reveals all your flaws. It reveals the good, the bad, and the ugly. It doesn't allow you to think of yourself more highly than you want to, or less than you would, but it shows you exactly who you are. So we have delved into this with the intent so we can see where we're at. We can see where we come short. Again, see where we have problems, so we know that there's work that needs to be done. We know we need to dig deeper, right?
Yes.
That's right.
We want to dig deeper, right?
Yes.
Because it's hard.
You got to.
It's hard. It is difficult. A lot of times we don't want to dig deeper because it is difficult to do. Self-control. Instant gratification versus something we see down the road. It takes time to develop what we see in the Word of God. We set unrealistic expectations. We gauge ourselves by other people. And the apostle said it this way. He said, comparing yourselves among yourselves, you are not wise. Because we look at other individuals and compare ourselves to them, and think, I'll never be like him. I'll never be like her. I wish I was. Or either we look and we say, if they can make it, I know I can make it. But we don't ever compare ourselves to anybody else. We compare ourselves to the Word of God. This is the measuring stick which we go by. Yes, it is hard. Yes, it can be difficult. But is it rewarding?
Yes.
You know, we do things a little different. And I want to ask you a little more questions. Have you ever seen somebody in your life, your experiences, that you've come up on people and you see the way they react to something, you say, I know that person's got God in them.
Yes.
And it's a testimony. It sticks with you, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now I'm going to flip it on its head. You see somebody who says they've got God in them, and they go out there and they blow up and react in all kinds of wrong way, and it makes an impression, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And it sticks with you for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
What do you want to be? That's up to us. What do we want? How do we want to be? You know, there's no law against it. We can have just as much of God as we want.
That's right.
Jesus made it clear in the sermon. He said, those who hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled. We can have it if we want it, if we're willing to stick with it. You've heard me say this again and again. Gospel of John. He wants you to bear fruit, more fruit, and much fruit. We got a peach tree in the yard. And I said this year, I said, I'm going to prune the peach tree. I pruned it. We got peaches off of it before, little small peaches. It put out so much fruit this year that the tree has broken. Couldn't support itself under the weight. That's my fault for not keeping up with it. But it let me know just a little bit of pruning sometimes, because I didn't prune a lot. But just a little bit of work put in produced a tremendous amount of results in what I would have received off of this tree. The work is worth it, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes we have to prune things. Not because they're bad, but because they hinder us. Sometimes we've got to move things out of our life, out of our way. We've got to stop putting time into certain things because they keep us from being all we can be. And it's different for every individual. I do not like to come to church and have somebody read down a list of things you can and can't do. Because there's things in that list that you won't have a problem with and I'll struggle with. And there's things in there that I won't have a problem with, but you will have a problem with. We each know where we stand.
That's right.
You know your hindrances. You know your weaknesses. You know where you need to be pruned. Let God prune you.
Yes.
Bear more fruit. Multiply. Go out and be like Jesus. And when the fruit hits the ground, what happens? It dies and it produces.
Yeah. You're right.
Or it's consumed. We've covered that in here. It either goes into the ground and it reproduces, or it's consumed and it provides sustenance for somebody, for some other individual, or wildlife, or whatever it might be. But there's life that comes from the fruit. Any way you go,
That's right.
it provides for others beside us. Fruit is not for us, it's for other people. It's to help other people. So then, do you want to help other people? Y'all just don't say what you say it because I think you need to say it. We should want to.
That's right.
And the only way we can is to be more like Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Let's bow our heads.